After 10 years of living essentially homeless, I did a water fast, exhausted, confused about my direction. And on the 8th day, Gaia began to talk with me. For 10 years, from 2002 to 2012, I lived largely homeless. I had a backpack, a guitar, a yoga mat, and my wits. Highly educated, well-off family, I knew how to take care of myself in most circumstances. I made friends wherever I went. I talked myself out of trouble on multiple occasions. And I moved through more than 20 times that I was experiencing a situation where I thought I might die. After this, I was exhausted. My relationships weren't working, my dreams were not coming together, and I went on a water fast in Mount Shasta, California. On the 8th day, Gaia began to teach me how to live more effectively here. It was visual and emotional. I was camping and had only candles, and the experience of living this way for a week, living in a tent, long enough to learn to feel the rhythms of the cycles of the day and the night and the season that I was in. When we live in a culture where electricity enables us to obscure the forces of nature, we lose much more than you might understand. And today I'd like to talk to you about what it is that you lose and how you can reclaim it. When we live with the ability to change our influence over the factors of life, like heat and warmth, light and dark, we lose touch with the natural rhythms that are still here. Please understand, our victory isn't really a victory, because as a society, for all societies that are dependent on electricity and the cycle of work and the pressure of media that we live under, these cultures are so out of touch with reality that we're beginning to manifest a wide range of problems that nobody ever used to have. People are called sick, often the same people who are attempting to raise a question as to whether or not this lifestyle is sane and healthy. Why is it that the same people who have the intuitive awareness that something's wrong are often the same ones that manifest the worst symptoms, or at least struggle to retain their health in the face of them? In a healthy society, we are not struggling with the major forces that we can't change. This isn't to say that it isn't nice to have light at night, but it is to say that you need to sleep when it's time to sleep. And when the sun comes up, if you're not getting up, something's a little bit off. Similarly, when it's too hot, you don't want to work because you'll burn and you'll overheat. So you need to get that work in during the times when you can, often even before the light is up. Knowing these pressures and living by them changes how you behave dramatically. And I want you to think very carefully about how you could begin to allow these cycles to influence you. This is more than a week without electricity, and I loved it. I used candles in the night as I was going to sleep, and when I'd wake up in the middle of the night and needed to meditate. And during such times, a lot gets revealed in a way that simply never happens if you surround yourself with electrical stimuli that essentially drown out the rhythms of this world. We have the capacity to control some of the influences over us in this life in an electrical society. But make no mistake, this isn't a complete victory. First of all, it comes at a huge cost. There are negative repercussions to tuning ourselves with electrical stimuli that are out of touch with nature. And second of all, we don't really make nature disappear. Our body is of nature, and we are still deeply influenced by the harmonies and rhythms and vibrations of the seasons in the world around us. And when we do our best to ignore those rhythms and those forces, we suffer in ways that are hard to measure at first. But over time, I believe this kind of suffering is at the root of a wide range of things we've given names to and drug. When we are avoiding stimuli that are present, that are not negative, we're talking the forces of the seasonal changes, the rhythms of the weather. When we ignore these forces, we get a little sicker. Some of it is straightforward. The barometric pressures of changing weather systems influence us. If you ignore that, you don't move with it. When you move with it, when you set aside your priorities and focus on what's happening, get outside, breathe with the air, allow yourself to be aware of the changes. It makes you well. It helps you turn the corner with the seasonal changes themselves, with the cycles of the weather. Furthermore, when we use light too much at night, we get ourselves out of rhythm with the world herself. When you are responsible for raising a family and being a part of a community where much of what you provide is the seasonal gifts of nature that you grow and tend, you can't afford to make this kind of mistake. You have to be present with the cycles of nature as they are, because the seeds are going to remain present with those cycles. The animals are going to remain present with those cycles. Therefore, you don't waste much time at night. You get to sleep, because you have to wake up sometimes a little before the sun to milk the goats or cows and do many different chores that are dependent on the time of day. Then you want to use the light when you can, because sometimes, particularly in the heat of summer, you can't work during the hottest hours, not outdoors. So you're restricted in a way it's a rhythm. It's a rhythm that you can follow, and when you follow it, you're in harmony with these forces that you feel, even if you stay in your house in the air conditioning all day long with the electricity on, blaring music and watching TV. You can't escape the presence of these forces, and in resisting them, you generate unnatural tension in your body that makes you sick. At best, it makes you tense, and that tension makes it difficult to focus on living a good life, on making elegant choices. Sometimes the capacity to choose is not a gift, because yes, you can make your computer show you anything you want, but is what you are paying attention to actually good for you? If you're not at least asking this question, it's going to be hard to make the right choices. Gaia began to teach me this and more. She took me deeper and showed me the simple division of the seasons that many indigenous cultures have followed throughout human history. Notably, the Celtic ancestry that has influenced me so much broke the seasons up into 8 sections. The obvious division between the solstices and equinoxes makes 4 seasons. And then dividing those up once more into the 8, the cross-quarter days added as equidistant between the equinoxes and the solstices. This division of awareness helps you understand what it's appropriate to be doing during these times of the year. And the simple process of prioritizing getting outside is the very first step. But it goes beyond these. It goes into a way of thinking that says control a little less, co-create much more. Try your ideas out and pay attention to the response. Feel the sacred dialogue between you and the world, because she's watching you. She is with you. She is you every day. And believe me, she's entirely conscious of who you are, how you think and feel. When you put more attention into it and care, she's more receptive to communicating with you. But you don't have to go on an 8-day fast to open that communication. It is always real. To be present with the gifts of this world and to cherish them. To recognize when I eat an apple, what went into growing that apple. Even if I am not raising the food I eat on a farm, be present with how in touch with the seasonal cycles the people who raise that food already are and must be in order to get that apple to my door. Recognize the sacred gift of being a part of this. It's not a chore or a burden. It is a gift to tune in this way and consistently reinforce our commitment to living in a body. That's what eating is. We are taking care of a choice to embrace our life. And as we do this, it is the most spiritual activity you can engage in. These are not mundane chores that free us to do some kind of liberated, spiritual, heightened work. There are no heights above these. What we call high spiritual vibes are just as present in a human body as they could be anywhere else. In fact, when you're not in a body, living in a body is an extraordinary choice, a magnificent choice that many beings cherish and long for. You need to find that longing while you're here. You need to awaken to the sacred gift that you already have. When so many things have been changed by technology, we are all still deeply affected by the forces of nature as they are. And every extent to which we shield ourselves from this only serves to obscure the ways in which we remain deeply woven. When the weather changes, we feel it inside ourselves. When the seasons shift, it dramatically alters our mood and temperament. To the extent we fight this, we suffer. To the extent we work with it, we flourish and thrive. And in an era when so many people are encouraged to take charge, take control, make what you want, that such behavior is powerful, it can be a lost skill to adapt, to be present with the forces as they are, to prioritize getting out in the sunshine for a walk when it is indeed sunny, to allow for the kinds of incubation that winter provides, to work hard when you feel the pressure of getting in a crop that will otherwise spoil. These kinds of pressures were deeply normal for thousands of years of human history, and it shaped the way humans thought and acted. And we have lost something crucial by overcoming these pressures with unnatural techniques and technologies. When it seems that you are not under threat of losing the gifts of nature, what you need to survive and thrive on this planet, when it comes without much effort, it's difficult to cherish it. And people are forced out of their bodies to question why we're here, why are we alive, what are we doing? And this is good, because as you travel beyond the confines of what we've known of as normal reality, you get in touch with the vast range of existence in this cosmos. But one of the most important things you can do once you've achieved this transcendence is learn to get back in your body and return to your body, cherishing the incredible gift of having a body and being present in this beautiful world with the extraordinary sensations and ways of sharing and loving that we all have. When we don't know how special these gifts are, we can't experience them with anything like the kind of vibrancy and joy that they've been created to give us. We are here to love and to learn with each other. And to the extent that we are not able to be aware of how unique and special this gift is, we languish and get sick in ways that many of you might know. I invite you to commit to doing what you can to living in more harmony with the world around us. And as you do, you bring health to this body, because this body is a loan that you will give back by cherishing it as a part of this world, by cherishing this life in this world, and treating the steps we take to sustain ourselves as sacred. You will live a much better life. It can be extremely challenging living a wonderful, normal life if you have beliefs that are out of tune with the truth. Almost everyone in a mainstream society is believing a gigantic lie. And in the next video, I'm going to explain what that is.